Bienvenue dans la Question Noire. En marge des entretiens thématiques, nous demanderons à chacun de nos invités de définir ce que nous appelons la noirceur politique. Voici l'une de leurs réponses.
Okay, for me, the first thing is there's a reason why I have written a lot in terms of what I call Black existentialism. Okay, and the reason I have to begin that way is because existence and being are not the same thing. And and particularly in French, if you say existence, it's it simultaneously means to live as well as to stand out. Okay, and this is really crucial because being is very different. Being is something more fixed. You see what I'm saying? And too often, that way I talked about that colonialism created the notion of being governed, in other words, ordered, versus politics, which is contingent and open. I see. The reason I bring that up is mainly because when I don't think the issue is about being Black. I think the issue is about living Black, which is different. And living Black is about the openness to dealing with questions of political life and power, but also the question of the affirmation of value. Okay? So this is one of the reasons, for instance, why I always defend Black, what I call aesthetics or Black art. Because the thing about art and aesthetic life is that those are the ways in which you affirm your right to exist, your right to live in the world. Because if you think about it, from your body's point, let's pick food as an example. From your body's point of view, food is just food. As long as you get protein and vitamins, who cares? However, we know there's a difference. Why do we have to have flavor and joy and sit down and communicate and talk? We're producing in those activities the value of eating food together and the world we live in. So I see the fundamental question of around the question of what's involved, the project of Blackness, as linked to questions of liberation. I see it as linked to the liberation of humankind. And this is one of the reasons why I argue that we need to take seriously the politicality, the political question of Blackness, not in an instrumental sense, because that's the governing sense. That's back to that being stuff. But in the active sense of what it is for human beings to communicate, reach to each other, and build worlds that are valuable. So I see not only creativity in the question of Blackness, but I also see it as relational. I don't see Blackness as closed. And I don't see it at all as about fantasy, because as you can see earlier when I made that remark, I see Blackness as linked to truth. That ultimately it's about taking reality seriously. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people don't understand this. Being and reality are not the same thing. You see? In fact, being sometimes covers over reality, because being tries to close reality, whereas reality is always about meaning. And one of the things we know about being a human being, right, even though I said the word being there, it's that it's a paradox. Human life is about the production of meaning. And so and this is why I bring up the aesthetic point. There's no point of being alive if being alive is meaningless. So I see Blackness as part of the production of meaning, bringing meaning to existence. And that is greater than the question of being and the narrow sense of Blackness. It's the open sense of being agents of history, and also people who take on the political responsibility to articulate and be responsible for the meaning subsequent generations of human beings will inherit.